Well, joining me now to discuss this from the capital, Freetown, is the presidential spokesman, Abdulai Baraytay, from the ruling party, the All People's Congress. We also have the spokesman of the opposition National Grand Coalition Party, which is Julius Spencer. Gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining us here on the Newsmakers. Abdulai Baraytay, let me begin with you. Tell me why you think now is not the time for change and that Sierra Leone needs more of the ruling APC.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. The reason why we think that we should continue in governance, because over the years, since we came into governance in 2007, the development agenda we have rolled out in this country, as well as our human rights record. In fact, since 1961, it is only from 2007 to 2017-18, as I'm speaking to you, that we don't have any prisoner of conscience, that we have not arrested or executed anybody based on their political beliefs. And besides, the infrastructural development, the free healthcare initiative we introduced, and our robust fight against corruption. We came into governance at a time when corruption was the order of the day. We met an anti-corruption commission, but it was a toothless bulldog. Because before you prosecute cases, you'll have to get the consent of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. So when we came into governance, we said, well, wait a minute. If the minister sits in cabinet with his colleagues and there is someone found culpable of some financial impropriety, how would they, if they are friends, how are they going to be prosecuted?
Right.
So we removed that aspect, so that the ACC can be very independent.
Okay, so let's go to Julius. Julius, we've had a list of things mentioned by Abdulai as to why now is the time for continuation. Even though the man will change, his preferred candidate, Dr. Samora, should be the next president and not your preferred candidate, Kande Yumkela. Tell me why you disagree.
Well, for many reasons. A lot of what my friend, my young friend, has just said. On the surface, yes, he has a point. But when you go behind the surface, you find out that it is just a facade. If you talk about corruption, corruption is at its worst that this country has ever seen under this government. Everybody knows it. You cannot get anything done without bribing somebody. Now the Anti-Corruption Commission that he's talking about is focusing on what it calls low-level corruption and ignoring the high-level corruption, which is what is destroying this country. They're going after policemen that are receiving small bribes on the street and not focusing on the government officials.
That's an interesting point. Let me grab onto that for a second, right? And let me pose something to Abdulai. Abdulai, it's not just Julius Spencer who's in the opposition, so you could say, well, the opposition has to say this. Listen to retired teacher Arthur Tailu. Have a listen.
The present government has got a lot of clout. I mean, they have got a lot of money. And in a very poor country like Sierra Leone, money talks. Even people who have been suffering terribly, when you give them a lot of money, you can sway them. But there are people, of course, who cannot be swayed.
So, Abdulai, there's a suggestion that money talks in the country and that the ruling party wields money unfairly in a political sense. Is that true?
Well, I can challenge that. The reason being, it is even good it is coming from a teacher, because one of our targets is the fight against ghost workers. You can't believe from the payroll, it was business as usual. It was only when we came into governance we were able to expunge about 6,000 ghost teachers from the payroll, which amounted to billions of leones. So for us, the perception there is corruption permits, and we agree that corruption is a challenge because it has the inextricable link to undermine development, particularly in a country like Sierra Leone that is at the periphery of global development. But we have done something spectacular. Imagine since 2004, when the Millennium Challenge Corporation was introduced by the United States government, Sierra Leone was only able to pass that in 2012, which today we are implementing a $44.4 million grant from the United States government because of our robust fight against corruption.
Okay.
So I can say, whatever they will say as an opposition, we will accommodate that because we are not thin-skinned. But what we'll concentrate on is nobody will deter us in our fight against corruption because we know how corruption can contribute to poverty, thereby undermining the very fabric upon which the mandate of this government was given by the people of Sierra Leone.
Okay, and I want to move on from corruption a little bit and sort of broaden it out and look at a medley of issues over the next 9 minutes or so. So, Julius, credit where it's due. Would you agree that in the face of immense crises, such as the Ebola epidemic, this government has done okay?
No, I certainly will not. In fact, the fact that the Ebola crisis was as bad as it was in Sierra Leone was a real result of the inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the government. If you look at Sierra Leone, had the worst scenario, and it affected our economy more than it affected the other countries that suffered from it. Why did that happen? It's because of the inefficiency of the government. Ebola should not have hit us as badly as it did if the government had done its work right. Everybody knows that. If you look at what happened with the funds that were received for Ebola, a lot of it was misappropriated. The Auditor General's report on that and many other issues that the Auditor General has been reporting on over the years have not been implemented. It's always clear for everybody to see. Everybody in this country knows that corruption is rife in this country.
Right.
You look at talking about development, many things are not happening the way they should.
Okay, so Abdulai, $14 million meant to help fight Ebola went missing. That's the Auditor General. It's not the opposition making it up. Could you have done better? Was corruption involved in that?
Well, this is again part of the skewing of the messaging around corruption by the opposition. To them, everything should be politicized. But I must say, for the sake of the records, when the Auditor General, we authorized the Auditor General when we suspected that the Ebola funds were being compromised. President Koroma authorized a real-time auditing, which was a novelty in this country. And the other thing we did was the state broadcaster, the television, the newspapers, the media, they were all invited in a public forum at the House of Parliament. And guess who were found culpable? Civil society were found culpable. And even with all respect to Dr. Julius Spencer, his name was also mentioned that some money is given in the name of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. His company was also found culpable. Whatever happened with that, nobody knows. But one thing I can authoritatively say was the civil society people that you have found wanting, they have paid the money. The supplier that was supposed to deliver the rest of the ambulances, he delivered. And the Anti-Corruption Commission came out with a report very clearly to vindicate, and not a single politician was found wanting. But you know, in our country, that is why it is unfortunate that Dr. Spencer was making a dichotomy between low and high corruption. I was fortunate to attend the 9th International Anti-Corruption Conference in Durban, South Africa. When it comes to the fight against corruption, you don't cherry pick. And this is where, for us as a government, we will continue to make sure whatever type of corruption is corruption across the board.
Okay, Julius Spencer, you're cherry-picking the facts, and you also got a name check a couple times in there as Abdulai is looking at potential corrupt dealings. Your opportunity to respond, sir.
That what he said is absolutely false. My name was never mentioned in the investigation in Parliament, and he knows that. I would not want to use the word that I am tempted to use in terms of what he has just said. Now, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists had a project which I initiated, and there was a process which was agreed with the U.S. Embassy, and that is what was followed. The U.S. Embassy never complained. Some people who did not understand the process raised issue within the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. There was no mention of that in Parliament, and he knows that. So he's just being mischievous by saying what he just said. Now, if you look at the
country,
he spoke about,
and they are using the effect that you compromise the process, sir. I respect you, but for the records, I have to bring this out so that you cannot be seen to, as this crusader to fight corruption when, in fact, name was
okay,
also
point well
mentioned,
made.
sir.
Point well made. Julius Spencer, finish your point, Julius.
Now, he's talking about me cherry-picking low-grade corruption. I did not do that. I said that the anti-corruption says it is focusing on low-grade corruption and ignoring the high-level corruption. That is what is happening. It is not me saying that that is what should be done. It is what is happening. That's all I'm mentioning. Now, he's just being mischievous by making the comment he's making.
Okay. Abdulai Baraytay, I want to move forward. Hold on for a second. I want to move forward for a second here. World Health Organization report saying that Sierra Leone is one of the most dangerous places in the world for people aged 15 to 29. The mortality rate is off the charts. It's absolutely outrageous. How are you going to create a society where not only, never mind young people thriving, you just want young people to stay alive? How are you going to have that happen?
Thank you very much. Well, we do recognize the challenges the young people face in this country. I always recall when I was a student leader and a practicing journalist in this country, we have always been articulating how the young people cannot be left behind, particularly when we read the Truth and Reconciliation Commission reports, whereby youth marginalization was an important factor in fueling the crisis in the 90s. So that is why when President Koroma came, he moved beyond just saying we have to empower the young people, but rather we were able to see how to support them, even in retraining, because some of the degrees we have from the university, the economy is not addressing that directly. So we said the Chinese government gave us about $30 million for a youth excellence village, so that even if you study your Greek and Roman history or your drama, you will be able to come and retrain. That way you can fit into the new economy. And this is where in our own agenda for prosperity, in Pillar 1, the diversification of the economy, the centerpiece of that is young people. And as I'm speaking to you, it is the first time in this country that young people have received opportunities. And with support from the UNDP, a lot of training has been going on so that they can fit into the new economy.
Okay, so Julius Spencer, as the National Grand Coalition and with your candidate, how are you going to try to ensure that young people stay alive and thrive and become fantastic, excellent citizens of Sierra Leone, doing well and fulfilling themselves and their ambitions for their nation?
Well, in the first place, the first thing is for them to stay alive. Sierra Leone has one of the worst maternal and infant mortality rates. Again, for young people, Sierra Leone is rated as one of the worst places to live in. That is because many things are not in place. The healthcare system is in a terrible state. If you have any serious ailments, you have to go out of the country even for proper diagnosis. Yes, the government has instituted what is called a free healthcare program for lactating mothers, etc., but it is not working properly. And everybody knows that there are complaints all over the place. And when you look at all the problems we're having, corruption is at the heart of it. So first thing, reduce corruption significantly. It may not be possible to get rid of it totally, reduce it significantly. And now, in terms of programs for the young people, you have to have programs that will give them respectability. A lot of what is happening is that there are one or two programs here and there which they get jobs. And a lot of the jobs that are being provided are menial jobs, like clearing refuse. Agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, or should be the mainstay of our economy, but it is back-breaking work. Now, for these sectors to become attractive, and for young people to even get into professions that are more attractive, the government needs to pay attention to things like the creative industries, which have been neglected in Sierra Leone. They need to pay attention to IT, information technology, and encourage our young people to get into that. If you look at the education sector, the curricula of many of our tertiary institutions are in the 19th century.
Okay, and there's some massive challenges, massive challenges for your country. Gentlemen, you've both been excellent, and it's been really good to have you both on the same program. It's an important election for your country. We'll be watching and listening closely for results, and we hope everything goes smoothly and peacefully until we have that announcement. But for the moment, Abdulai Baraytay and Julius Spencer, I thank you both for joining us here on the Newsmakers.